so they'll follow you back. Follow people you genuinely want to interact with. Okay, and now next is another really big topic, an email list. And again, we could do a training on how you really build that email list. The last 6 years, I've worked with a psychologist to build his email list. And 6 years ago, it wasn't much of a list. And we create content. And I don't work for him full time. Now I'm just kind of contracting a few hours every week, but I create content for this psychologist and his website. His list is now at 250,000. A list of 250,000 is significant. So he, that list is gold. And him having this list, which I helped build, which I don't have, I don't have any ownership of that list, but I know that it's possible with consistency. And again, it took about 6 years to build this list, but with consistent effort and doing kind of taking those right steps and sending a newsletter consistently is just, I can't even emphasize it enough how important it is. So your list is a collection of email addresses you can use to send email to your readers. Email lists are used to communicate with an audience or your readers to promote your books. There are many different ways to build an email list. So a lot of people think that email is dead. I don't agree with that. I know we are all inundated with so much email every day in our inboxes, and I know it's easy to just kind of go through and delete, delete, delete. But when I receive an email from an author that I love, I open that email because I'm thinking, okay, is this person publishing a book soon? What does she have to say? What is he up to? I always open the emails from my favorite authors because I'm really interested in catching up with what they're doing and, again, finding out when their book is going to be released. So I don't think email is dead. I think email is still important. And I think it is still the way that many people receive news, communicate with each other. And so as I said, there are many ways to build your list. Common methods include strategically using sign-up forms on your website, within your email signature, and on social media. Offering a discount on an upcoming release. Offering a lead magnet or reader magnet on your website. A lead or reader magnet is something of value that authors offer in exchange for their reader's email address. This can be a free ebook, a chapter, a short story that's not previously unpublished or unavailable, a checklist, a webinar, or even a video series. You may want to run a contest or giveaway. You can use social media. You can partner with other authors and get a ton of signups that way. You may want to use offline channels like book signings, trade shows, conferences that you might be attending. Always, always include a strategic call to action in your copy. You can add an exit intent pop-up form on your website. So when someone's about to leave your website, it's like, no, wait a minute. Do you want this discount? Or, something that is enticing and inspiring them to add their email and their contact information. Create landing pages that convert interested people into raving fans who buy every book you publish. And again, creating landing pages is another training in and of itself. Okay, and Donnie said, I open author emails to study what they are doing to model it. Perfect. That is an excellent suggestion. Again, I recommended earlier to check out their websites, check out their social media. And I agree with you, Donnie. I always have my eye open for what is appealing in an author email, and it's like, I probably wouldn't include that, but I definitely would include this. So that's a great suggestion. Thank you. Your list is a direct line to your most loyal readers. Unlike social media platforms, you own your mailing list, making it a reliable way to connect with your readers. So what should you say? You can email your readers about an upcoming book launch, a cover reveal. You might want to share personal news and updates, and just generally build a relationship with your audience. Allow them to get to know you. There's an author I follow, and she lives in South Carolina, and I just love her photos in her emails. She shares, when she's going to have a book signing, and I'm in North Carolina, so I'm not too far away. So I'm like, oh, is she having a book signing near me? but the photos that she includes in her emails, the recipes, it's so, I don't know, comforting, appealing. It just makes me really like her even more. Almost like it's like she's a personal friend that's writing directly to me. So as you're writing your emails, write them as if you're writing to one person. Don't make it a generic kind of salesy email. Nobody will be interested in that. Um, and obviously, you want to use your email list responsibly and ethically. You should never send spam. And this is an obvious, tip. You don't send spam emails or sell your email list to third parties. You should also ensure that you comply with all applicable laws and regulations, such as the CAN-SPAM Act in the United States. I've known people with very large lists and they break some rules and they end up losing their list. That they are shut down. They basically lose access to the platform. Some of the platforms are extremely strict, and if you don't sort of comply with their rules, they will shut you down and you have to move to another platform. So you want to start by choosing a platform that fits your needs and really check out their terms and conditions. Very important. Their terms and conditions may not match with what you are promoting. Some terms and conditions are they're very strict. So just really be aware of the terms and conditions of the platform you're signing up with. Popular options include MailerLite. I know MailerLite is not as strict as some of the others. I've heard good things about MailerLite. There's ConvertKit, there's MailChimp, Constant Contact. You can use Substack to create your newsletter. There are many, many affordable options. Just do your research and choose a platform that really the best suits your needs and your budget. Some of them are very, very expensive. You just really have to do a comparison and figure out, what meets your needs. If you have a list of 1,000 people, that's very, very different than if you have a list of 25,000 people. So the cost difference, it will make a big difference. Sometimes if you do have larger lists, if you do have, say 50,000 on your list, you can negotiate with, say, for example, Constant Contact. They will actually reduce your price if you let them know. You could say, hey, I'm moving over to such and such platform. Can you give me a deal? So always negotiate if you do have a large list, because as I said, I know what it costs in Constant Contact to store a list of 250,000. It's a lot of money every month. But the CEO of the company, he has negotiated with Constant Contact to give him a reduced rate, because we have, over the years, we have decided, should we move? Should we stay with Constant Contact? Constant Contact isn't my favorite platform by any stretch. But again, it's his choice. It's his list. But they have negotiated a lower rate for him because, yep, Donnie says also Go High Level and Aweber. Aweber's another great with Go High Level. I'm not as familiar with, but yeah, there's a lot out there. So just do your research and compare. And as I said, really check the terms and conditions as well as the monthly cost, depending on how many people you have in your list. Okay, so here is a homework assignment for everyone. Set up a mailing list if you don't have one yet. I don't care if you just add one name to that list. If you already have a list, brainstorm a few reader magnets. For example, a free chapter, a short story, or exclusive content to encourage signups. Commit to taking one small step within the next 48 hours or 2 days. Who's up for this challenge? Drop a comment in the chat box and share what you're going to do in the next 48 hours if you're interested. So keeping your list engaged is critical, of course, to your long-term success. And as I said, it does take time to build a list. I've heard of people, scraping LinkedIn, which is, I don't suggest that, but people do it. That's not the way to build a list. You want engaged, interested people. You don't want people that are going to unsubscribe in large numbers, because again, that's a red flag. You want people that actually want to be on your list. And so establishing that list is going to take some time. Regular newsletters, sneak peeks, and exclusive content can help build and maintain interest and reduce your unsubscribes. So how often should you send an email? I receive emails from some authors every day. Other authors, I may only receive an email once a month. I don't think once a month is enough, quite frankly, to keep people engaged, but do what works for you. Just budget your time. Outsource it if you'd rather not. For the company I just mentioned, we create the mental health content We send emails 5 times a week consistently on different topics with different content. That I think has contributed to building the list to 250,000 because we are so consistent. We have an incredible open rate. Our open rate usually hovers around 38%. We have a very low unsubscribe rate. So again, we have cultivated and built this list over 6 years, but it's a huge list and we have an incredible open rate. And I'm just checking the chat. Yes, prequels are great lead magnets. Donnie, that's a great suggestion. Thank you. Let's see. And Ty again just added the link to the workbook so that it's kind of in the lower end of the of the feed instead of way at the top. So don't forget to download your workbook. Thank you, Ty, for adding that link. Okay, so one final tip on e-newsletters. I think the focus should be on really educating your readers, inspiring your readers. You might start your newsletter with something that interests you or something personal about your life. Readers want to know about you so they feel connected to you, so that they relate to you. They want to know maybe about your dog. There's an author I know that she always is, including pictures of her dogs, and it's cute, it's fun, it's personal information, so her readers really feel that connection. You may spotlight one of your books, providing historical background about one of your storylines. I follow an author and I love her books, but in some of her emails, she will include just a brief paragraph about some interesting historical, mysterious, just intriguing information. It makes me want to read it. And I'm like, oh, that's really interesting. What a cool thing to include in a newsletter. But there's so many things you can include that would really pique your readers' interest. You may include recipes or scriptures from the Bible if you write Christian fiction, for example. Get creative. What interests you when you receive a newsletter from your favorite authors? You can type your responses in the chat box. If there's something that sticks out in your mind, an email that you received from one of your favorite authors that you thought was just a great idea. For me, I love to read about upcoming new releases, publication dates, so I can add it to my calendar so I remember to buy the book. I love to enter drawings and contests. So I enter several each week and I often win books. That to me is like something that really excites me when I win a book. It's something very simple, but I just love getting book mail. So I enter a lot of drawings and contests for actual physical books. I don't so much for the eBooks. Those are out there. Are many contests out there for eBooks as well, but and I split 50-50. I do read eBooks, but I find if I'm looking at a screen, my eyes get really tired. So I often, especially before bed, I will read a physical book. So I enter a lot of contests for actual physical books. I'm not as interested in cover reveals or free chapters. If I'm going to read a chapter, I want to read the whole book. So I'm not as attracted to like a free chapter offer. And I'm not really that interested in cover reveals, but I know the cover reveal concept is extremely popular because I am constantly getting emails that say cover reveal in the subject line. And I typically delete those, but I know some people are very interested and they find it really cool to check out covers. But for me, as I said, my time is limited. I don't really open emails if it just says cover reveal in the subject line. So be very mindful about your subject line as well. And that's a whole science, creating a good subject line for your email. So finally, in your newsletter, close with a call to action, links to purchase your books, always include social media buttons, and suggest that your readers follow you for live events, contests, and much more. There's a lot you can do on social media, so I suggest always including those buttons in your newsletter. And I just wanted to, again, emphasize that social media engagement is absolutely vital for authors because it allows you to build a direct personal connection with your readers. When you engage with followers on platforms like Instagram, X, or Twitter, or Facebook, you begin to create a loyal fan base. You generate buzz around your new releases, and you receive real-time feedback on your books. But social media isn't just about promoting your books. These platforms allow you to share your journey, interact with your readers, answer questions, and truly create a community around your writing. And I think ultimately that's what we want. We want a community of loyal fans, of I guess, raving fans that we know, will buy the next book. I mean, ultimately, it's not just about sales. It's really about consistent engagement, keeping your readers interested and invested, which leads to more word of mouth promotion, and again, higher book sales, but a more substantial overall online presence for you as an author. And not all social media platforms are created equal. Choose platforms that best suit your genre and target audience. For example, the people that hang out on TikTok are very different than people who frequent Facebook, than people who go to X or Twitter, than people who are on Instagram. So do your research. You must know the demographics of all the popular social media platforms. Just as I said, check out Facebook, X, Instagram, TikTok, Pinterest, whatever you choose. Based on your findings, decide which one or two platforms you will focus on. Again, in the chat, if you want to put which social media platforms do you currently prioritize, type your answers if you could, and just let me know, how effective are you finding the engagement on those platforms. I currently don't personally take advantage of social media at all, mostly because it's the time that it takes. And I'd say this is my #1 marketing challenge at the moment. I think eventually, probably very soon, I will need to hire a VA, a personal assistant, that can help me really prioritize social media. Because as I said, I find social media bogs me down time-wise, and I feel frustrated with it, and I find it to be a distraction. That's me personally. Some people love to engage, but I think for me, hiring someone to manage that for me is the best option. So the key here is consistency. You must create content that resonates with your audience. This could be a behind the scenes look at your writing process, writing tips, shout outs to your readers, sneak peeks of an upcoming release, the first chapter of that new release, and so much more. The important word here is consistent. Social media management could literally be a full-time job. We could spend a lot of hours every day on social media, which is why I suggested choosing one or two platforms initially to focus on if you're doing this yourself. Because obviously we are writers, writing takes time, and we want to prioritize spending our time on where we're really, gifted and talented. Again, for me, spending a lot of time on social media is not how I choose to spend my time, and that's something I would prefer to outsource to a VA. Okay, Donnie says X, Instagram, and Facebook. Limited engagement on Facebook and Instagram, a lot on X. That's great, Donnie. Thank you. And it's interesting because I'm kind of with you there. When I'm on X, I feel like if I spent the time on X, I would probably get a lot of engagement. Instagram, absolutely not. Facebook, maybe, but I almost feel like Facebook is kind of a stagnant kind of platform at this point. It doesn't feel to me to be like X, which is very quick, fast moving, lots of things going on in the feed. But thank you for that input. That's great. Let's see. I use hashtag writers lift. Is that writers life or lift? That might be a typo. Donnie's saying I use hashtag writers life or lift on X. Lift. Okay, writers lift. What does that mean? I'm just really curious. And I'm building a community for other writers. Writers lift. That's cool. Could you just kind of clarify, Donnie, what that refers to? I'm just curious. Thank you. So let's see. So first ask yourself, who am I writing for? Oh, and I think Donnie, it's okay. Lift up your writers for support, I assume. That's what Jazzy contributed. Yeah, so Donnie said it's a way for writers to boost their books. Oh, that's awesome. I'll have to follow you on X, Donnie. I'll have to find you because that's fantastic. Great. Thank you for clarifying. Okay, so before you think too hard about what you'll say on social media, consider who you'll say it to. Where are you finding your target audience? Start by following people you actually want to follow. I don't suggest going out and just following 5,000 people just so they'll follow you back. Follow people you genuinely want to interact with and people who will interact with you. So you may want to follow some of your favorite authors. You may want to follow authors in your genre just to kind of keep an eye on what they're up to. Interact with them. Look at their comments. I mean, comments are gold because you can see what people are saying, what they want, what they don't like. Especially, if it's authors in your genre, that's a lot of information that you can pull from just the comments on their posts. Once you're following them, show interest in what they're saying by responding to their posts and engaging in true conversations. And social media marketing is really a two-way street. When you understand who you're writing for, your social media presence will grow organically. And that's really the key. Social media presence, it is an organic process. As I said, I've heard of people on Facebook who will purchase followers, or they purchase group members, and then you have, yes, 2,000 people in your group or 2,000 people, following your page, but they don't really care anything about you. They're not interested in you, and they have no idea what you're doing. They are just purchased. I don't suggest doing that. And again, if you're worried that you only have 5 followers, remember, it's an organic process, and it, like building your list, it does take time. Oh, great. Donnie posted on X. He posted his link here. So anybody that's interested, check that out. I will have to go back and copy that, Donnie, after the training. Thank you. I appreciate that. And your brand voice, of course, should carry over to social media. Show that you enjoy engaging on social media and always post quality content. I mean, that's obvious. When you know your audience, you can create messages directed to them that they actually respond to. And always be yourself, be authentic. Or if you're, as your pen name, be authentically your persona, your brand persona, whether that's you, whether that's your pen name, in a way that your readers can connect to is the whole point. So another tip is to create a social calendar. Posts really shouldn't be random. This is a strategic process. So when you feel like it, or when something pops into your head, it needs to be a little more consistent, structured, and it should really be, as I said, strategic. So schedule your post, or perhaps consider hiring a VA to take over that task. As I mentioned earlier, if you don't enjoy spending lots of time on social media, just outsource this. It really is an important element of your marketing. So if you don't enjoy it, you're putting it off, it's not something you want to do, or you don't have fun doing it, just hire somebody for a couple of hours a week to take care of that for you. And show that you're human by posting something topical. It could be as simple as a photo on Instagram of something you're doing, or a question to spark a conversation on X. You can also make recommendations. Your readers should start seeing you as an authority figure in your genre, and you should start seeing yourself as one too. So you can begin recommending things that your readers might enjoy, such as movies, websites, books by other authors, conferences that might be coming up. I know there's a mystery writers conference coming up in my region. Create shareable content. Recommendations are one place to start, but there are plenty of others. A funny statement that speaks to your audience, a photo that tells a story, an infographic. Again, the sky's the limit. You can really be creative as to what you post. So you can start by spending at least 5 to 10 minutes daily reading and commenting on posts. Aim to be personal and genuine, authentically you. Then spend a few more minutes each day retweeting or sharing interesting posts that your readers might enjoy. For example, if you write mysteries, then maybe it's a quote from a mystery author, or a fascinating article about an unsolved mystery. You can find out who's talking about you. It's Mention is a paid tool, and the links, all of the links, any links I mention are in your workbook, but this is called Mention, and it's a paid tool. It does have a free trial, so you can try it out, that will alert you when you have mentions on social media platforms. So try to mix it up, post different content on different platforms. Your message on each network should change. People who, as I mentioned before, people who use X are a different audience than people who are on Facebook or TikTok, or even on YouTube. So your message needs to be modified, shaped, depending on the platform you're posting on. Just get a really decent understanding of the platform. Do a little bit of research. Again, research never hurts, and it's best to have sort of that data to fall back on before you just start posting randomly. To avoid overwhelm, start with just 1 or 2 platforms. Otherwise, if you try to post on every platform out there, you will experience overwhelm and burnout, and you will not continue doing it because it will just be too much. So you can use hashtags. If you use them correctly, hashtags are one of the easiest ways to get followers very quickly. A hashtag starts with the number sign. When people click on the word after it, they see other people talking about that topic. Here are a few things to remember about hashtags. You don't need to hashtag everything. Use them when they seem relevant. Every post doesn't need, nor should it have a hashtag. Don't be generic. So if you tweet about how happy you are about something and you hashtag excited, that will not earn you followers. So be very strategic about the hashtags you use. Make sure that they're relevant to your followers. For example, if you're at a writers' conference, there's a hashtag for that conference. Use it. This will connect you with other participants at that conference. Think of hashtags that build into your author brand. Unique hashtags that only you use. You might have a hashtag for the book you're working on, and whenever a reader clicks on it, they can see all the tweets about that book, all the updates. You can ask readers and influencers to use a specific hashtag when discussing your book. So there's a lot of ways to use hashtags. And always, always check the analytics to understand your followers. If you have a Facebook fan page, you can access detailed analytics showing who is a fan of your page. Demographics can help you identify where to do readings and what publications to target for reviews. For example, if you have a lot of readers in Alabama, you'll want to pitch your book for reviews and interviews to regional publications in that state. For example, many free and paid websites can help you see who your fans are beyond what the social media platforms are showing you. One popular tool is called, I think it's Fedica, Fedica. And again, the link is in the workbook. But there are many other platforms. That's just one example. I don't know a lot about it, but it is one example. And you can get a lot of data from these different platforms. Some are paid, but some it might be worth the investment. And as I mentioned, you won't grow your social network overnight. It is a process. Work on this while you're writing your book, not when you're preparing to launch. Be persistent and don't give up when your network is not growing as fast as you'd like. So better to start sooner rather than later and just start growing organically. So here's another homework assignment for you if you're up for it. Plan a week's worth of social media posts. Include a mix of content types such as images, videos, polls, infographics to keep your audience engaged. There are some great tools to create social media posts. My favorite is Canva. I've created many, many posts for other people, not for myself, but I've been paid to create social media posts for psychologists and for others. And I love Canva. I have the professional version. It is well worth the investment. I do think they are raising their prices in December, but I absolutely love Canva. It's relatively inexpensive. It's easy to use, very intuitive, and you can create stunning visuals for social media. You can also create book covers. You can create pretty much anything, journals, planners. I mean, there's a wide range of things that you can create in Canva. Another option is BookBrush. I know that's very popular among writers. I have not personally used BookBrush, but it's on my list of websites to check out. I know that that's a great resource as well. And there are plenty of AI platforms that are now designing incredible images. It's just, and every month it seems like there are new platforms for design purposes. It's incredible. So you can offer bonus material. Readers love bonus material. You can include this in your e-newsletter. You could post links to these things on social media. Again, use your imagination. You could consider one or more of these ideas. A scrap chapter that you decided not to include. You could include a prequel like Donnie recommended. A map of where your story takes place. And I love when authors include a map inside the cover of the book or on the first couple of pages, because then you can really visually understand where these characters, are going, where they're at. I love maps. You could include a family tree, connecting your characters with photos you've generated using AI. a prequel or epilogue to your story, something unpublished that readers can't get anywhere else. You could include a playlist created by the main character. So for example, if you write for young adults or teens, playlists would be, an incredible offering. A workbook or journal, if you write nonfiction, it's very, very easy to make a workbook, a journal with a platform like Canva. As I said, you could put something together in literally within an hour, a journal. A workbook might take a little bit longer, but it's a very, very quick and easy process. Okay, and as I mentioned at the beginning, I'm not going to go too deeply into advertising, simply because it's such a wealth of information. I don't want to do this topic a disservice so I'm just going to very briefly cover it. It's a lot of information. It's a training series in and of itself. Ads live or die based on three things that you have total control over: the image, the text, and targeting. Paid ads will significantly boost your visibility, but they require a careful approach to be truly effective. The essential components of a successful ad include compelling copy, strong visuals, and a clear call to action. That visual may not be just a static image. You may use video. There's lots of different ways you can create an ad that's not just a static image with text. As I said, I'm not going too deeply into ads because it's a lot of information. I do want to point out, though, that Amazon is a search engine just like Google. Amazon connects its customers to what they seek and goes one step further. Amazon uses its customers' data to provide relevant and customized recommendations. You can pay for ads on Amazon just like you can on Facebook or Google or any other number of platforms. Set a budget that aligns with your financial situation and goals. And always, always track your ad performance. You can use tools like Sprout Social is one tool to track ad performance. You can use Facebook Insights. Amazon, again, has an incredible dashboard in terms of, and they also have pretty much an entire, educational components that you can learn how to do Amazon ads. But first, the first step is evaluating whether paid ads are right for you. You need to list your current marketing goals and how ads can help you achieve those goals. If you are early in your journey as a published author, you may not want to spend a fortune on ads yet. There are other ways to promote yourself, promote your book, other than spending a lot of money on ads. When you have published maybe a series of books, when you're more, I guess, have more of a foundation as a published author, then you can maybe start to spend more and more on advertising. I've included a full chart in the workbook and a link to information specifically about Amazon ads for authors. As I said, Amazon provides a wealth of information. It's, and they know what they're doing. It would be silly for me to try to to give you an Amazon ads training. So I included a link. It's specific to authors, and I've also included a chart so that you can kind of break down what you want to do for advertising, if it fits into your marketing at this time. And as I said, it is a training in and of itself. Advertising must be very strategic. The most important thing I could say about ads are understand what you're advertising and how you're going about advertising. And your name or your pen name is the most critical element. Always include your name next to anything you promote. Use the same visuals, consistent colors, fonts, your brand voice that we talked about earlier in all of your promotional materials. So, keep it consistent. And again, I will kind of close the whole advertising conversation here. And hopefully you're not disappointed. And I'm hoping you didn't think this was a training just about ads, because as I said, it is really a very, and I'd love to do an advertising training. If you all are interested, let us know, because as I said, it should be a training in and of itself so that we could really dig deep and get into the appropriate way